Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to our WebEx session. I am Carmen Makai from the channel team, and on today I will moderate our events. On today, the WebEx session topic is From Hire to Compliance, Broadcom IGA in Action. Our special guest and presenter is Rinat Matikiao, Client Service Consultant from Broadcom. She will guide you on today. And in the next 60 minutes on the presentation level and on the demo level recorded session, Rinat will share you the details of the planned topic. The event, as always, will be recorded, and later we will share the recording link with YouTube. If you have any question, then please use the chat window. And Rinat, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining our session today. As stated, we are going to introduce to you our IGA solution from Broadcom. I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes.
Just a quick introduction. My name is Rinat. I've been with Broadcom Symantec CA for about 23 years now, 24. I've been working with the solution for the entire time. So it's a solution that grew with the market, with new trends, and with our customers sort of evolved along with it to adapt to their needs. Okay. To start the presentation, just a few sales slides. Okay, so identity management and the challenges around it that businesses, usually large businesses, have. Okay, so zero trust. Obviously, we're all used to this concept by now. Trust nobody, ensure everybody has what they need, no more and no less. The whole automation about giving the teams the right access when they need it. With automation, and all while keeping compliance and adhering to all the regulations that keep being introduced to different sectors, whether it's health, whether it's financial institutions. So IGA, when we talk about access management, identity and access management, we can sort of see two slightly different targets. Okay, so for example, when we talk about employees, employees have a certain relation with the company, right? It's less about confidentiality because we're all part of our business that we work for, so we have access to the information, but we have sort of how to say it, specific needs. Okay, so whether it's we need to access system to be able to do our job, and we need to be able to request more access, manage our profile, password reset, and all the things that keep help desk very, very busy. And at the same time, the business has to make sure we are compliant, whether it's role assignment and so on. At the same time, we have consumer. So consumer and a business have a slightly different relation, okay? They receive a service. Just think about it as you know, we are all consumers when it comes to our mobile phone providers, right? So when we log into our provider, whether it's the app, the website, we don't have any access as such, right? We log on to change our address, to change our name, maybe to change our billing address and all details and so on. And it's a slightly different type of access by nature. At the same time, governance still applies. The provider has to comply to all these guidelines about data storage and usage and sharing, etc. And when we no longer a customer, a consumer for this company, they have to ensure they get rid of the data, etc. So it's the same solution, it's just different implementations. So what is really IGA? IGA is the system that allows organizations to manage the access and identities of its users, whether employees or consumers for this matter. It doesn't make a lot of difference just now. Okay, so part of the main capabilities these systems tend to have. Okay, self-service, whether it's for forgotten password reset, which is probably the most common one, and more relatable. But at the same time, we need access. We start working on this new project. We need access to these systems. We need more entitlements. We can either ask for ourselves, self-service wise, or the project manager can say, okay, these users are going to be part of the project. We need to ensure they have access. So whether it's manual, I go and request, or automated, so creating policies that behind the scenes trigger some entitlement reservation, meaning if Renat's department has changed and her job title changed, it means she no longer needs some old access, but instead she needs new access. So all this logic is calculated at the back and available for me to use. So we can automate this with policies. We can also request for this access manually. Also, obviously, at the same time, the governance and certification side of things. This is for audit purposes, that we have the proof that managers and admins just stamp saying this user still needs to have this access, etc. So this is the left side of your screen. On the right, it's sort of the other solutions from Broadcom that are seamlessly integrated with IGA. Okay, CA directories are LDAP based, that is built into our product. We integrate with PAM for privilege access management. If we integrate with SiteMinder, we get enhanced password policies, we get SSO capabilities, etc. If we integrate with VIP and VIP Auth Hub, we get a multi-factor authentication and advanced password controls, whether it's FIDO or passwordless, etc. So really, what does IGA looks like from high level? We have the input, which is sort of our user based, okay? Whether it comes from HR or whether it's self-registration or whether it's a manager adding new users manually. We manage the access, again, self-service or by specific request. It has a workflow engine embedded, so it can be configured to some requests can be auto-approved, some requests needs to go to certain approvals. Again, it's all very, very flexible. So every business logic within a site is easily easy to adapt. Okay, so we can implement the logic for a specific site. So who approves, when does it need a manual approval, etc. When it comes to users, again, all the password management, whether it's password reset and question and answers and all that, and that's part of this product. The governance side as well, whether it's approving access or rejecting access, which will lead to this access being revoked. I'm going to just pause and see if we have any questions, if it's clear, or if anybody wants to ask about anything presented so far.
No question.
Okay, I'll take it as no. Okay, thank you. The next few slides are going to just review a few of the main features in Broadcom IGA product. Okay, provisioning, obviously it's relevant when we're talking about business use case. Okay, so we have these pool of out-of-the-box connectors that are available to be used, meaning we can connect to an Active Directory or Salesforce or any cloud endpoint out there, mainframe. We have an extensive list of connectors, which we will see in a minute, that comes with the product. It's ready to use. You do not need any programming capabilities as such. We connect to the endpoint, we sort of explore and read the content, and we are ready to create new accounts, modify accounts, and depending on the business, we can even delete accounts. Okay. So it can be manual, it can be automated, it can involve workflows as needed. Our portal has a very user-friendly interface, and when it comes to requesting access, we call it the shopping cart experience. Okay, we see a catalog, we say, okay, I want that, I think I want that, I would like to have that, drag and drop and check out. Okay, again, some can be configured to go to whether it's your manager or whether it's the target system administrator for approval. Some will be approved. This whole access request screen combines few nice features. One of them is the risk meter. Okay, so when we get to the demo, you'll see it. It's a risk meter that is reflecting at any current time the sort of risk evaluation of the access in total for the user. So if we start with a clean page, depending on the entitlements we ask, we can either see warnings. Okay, this access might be risky because it's not meant to be given to people from certain departments. For example, if a combination of access is selected, it might be completely impossible to request it, right? Because there is no way, for example, that we can have both account receivable and payable, right? It's just not allowed. So we have a risk engine that sort of indicates whether the entitlements are risky. We also have suggestions. So based on a certain request, we might see a pop-up saying, actually, if you have that, you might want to have that access as well, because they tend to go hand in hand. As I said, this is the risk meter. We'll see it a bit better when it comes to the demo. This is sort of the available access catalog we have. We can choose to add or remove access that we currently have. This is a possibly a better view. We have sort of a list of all the available items to select. We can add. If we already have it, we can remove. These are sort of the dynamic suggestions that I was referring to. And this is the risk meter that is, again, dynamically adjust itself based on each item we add. This is, in a funny way, this is one of my favorite slides. It's not as pretty, but it demonstrates the vast number of connectors IGA comes with out of the box. Okay, so when we implement the product for a customer, it's instantly able to connect and manage entitlement on all these endpoint types. Okay, so whether it's the entire Microsoft suite, right, Active Directory, AWS, Azure, Exchange, some of CA semantic endpoints such as PAM and advanced auth. We have really fundamental integration with mainframe. So whether it's RACF and top secret, we have connectors to connect to these and manage profiles and entitlements. In addition to these predefined endpoints, we also provide two sort of utilities to create dynamic endpoints. So the slightly more the original component was called Connector Express. I'll save you for that, but this is used to connect to databases and the LDAP endpoints dynamically. Okay, so if the organization has their own LDAP or database instance that is used for some application, we can just create a dynamic connector, map the fields, and use that as an endpoint. Our recent feature is called Connector Express 2, and it's a REST-based connector generation engine. Okay, so all these new endpoints in the cloud, which are REST-based, this is the interface to just connect to the endpoint, map the relevant fields, and we can use we can use these for provisioning purposes. These all come as base feature and provided with the basic product. So we sort of spoke about the provisioning and identity side of things. At the same time, this product also includes a governance feature for certification for audit purposes. Okay, depending on the site and the regulation, some sites run certification every 3 months, some sites run it once a year, but essentially it takes all the data we have in IGA, so thinking about all the users and all the roles and all the endpoints and the accounts, and we create a certification. Okay, so whether it's user focused, okay, so these users have the following entitlement, or whether it's from the other side, the role side. So this role has all these users as members, depending on how we want to run it. We generate the certification. As a manager, you can approve, you can reject. You can reassign, saying, actually, this user just moved to my team last week. It needs to go back to his old manager for the time being till I understand his position. So you can reassign and give this as a task to somebody else, or you can just consult. So it's still yours to approve, but you just need a second opinion. You can also have a view of historical campaigns. So what was how long did this user had this role? Was it approved before? And just implement previous decisions should you choose to. This is how the certification looks a bit. So we have the reviewers, which tend to be managers. Okay, they don't have to be, but they pretty much tend to be. We can see the status of how each manager is doing when it comes to certify. So Rita Jones so far only completed 1 out of 7 tasks she has, and Michael Allen obviously been a star and completed it all. Okay, If you drill down to the actual campaign, you can see a bit more details. Again, we'll see it in the demo, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Per user, per role, do we approve, to reject, do we reassign, or do we just want to consult with somebody? Another feature of this dashboard view is analytics. It collects data about tasks and workflows and gives sort of a dashboard overview of statistics. So how many workflows were approved, how long did it take, etc. Some sites use it as for SLO and performance management, but it's a nice feature to have. Just another view of this feature. Okay. IGA can be run on your mobile. I just want to make a comment here. This is not a separate app, okay, but it has a specific code adaptation to mobile. So as soon as we log in from mobile and the browser recognizes it, it adapts the view to a mobile view. Anything we can do from the UI can be done from your mobile. So if somebody needs to approve an urgent access and they're not in the office, they can just use their phone and perform the same tasks as they do from their laptop. I'm showing this because I assume we're aiming at new implementation. So Deployment Express is sort of a use case catalog that we can deploy and sort of create a scenario where it pre-configures all the task and logic if you want to introduce a new flow. For example, team management, so it can deploy the right task for creating users, modifying users, etc. So this is, again, a nice administrative feature. You can see sort of the use cases it can deploy. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So IGA, what do we really have here? Essentially, we have the identity manager engine, which is for managing identities, entitlement, provisioning, etc. We have identity governance, which is the governance engine that utilizes all the data used by identity manager to create campaigns and certification. And we have the portal, which is the pretty interface for both of these sort of usages. So we have identity manager ability from the portal, as well as the certification governance. This is a bit too technical, and I don't think we're going to go through this. Just as a highlight, we recently released the latest IGA version. It's release 15. It's been modernized in a fantastic way that makes deploying and configuring this whole application and made it a very easy job. Whether it's deploying, upgrading, and maintaining, adding new servers to handle performances and load, it's an instant click of a button, really. So IGA 15 is a big thing. This is the console of IGA 15. As you see, there is the dashboard. These are all the services that run on each server. So for visibility and monitoring, it's also a usable view. We can see the status of the services, we can restart them, etc. Before I go to the demo, I am happy to answer any questions if there are.
No question.
Hold on, I see something in the
Yes.
chat
Okay.
while I paused. Right.
If you face an issue to open the chat, then
Yes,
inform me
no,
and I
sorry,
can.
it's just how do we compare with Microsoft Entra ID? So this session is more for technical capability. It's less of the commercial side. I'm happy to have an offline discussion with anybody about sort of comparing to other offering. But within this session, we are limited to technical sales only. Is that okay with you, Carmen?
Absolutely. And Ion is in the background because this is an internal question from a MBCom colleague. I will have to discuss with each other. Yes, sure, no problem.
Okay. My plan is to now show a couple of demos. They're pre-recorded to avoid incidents or the demo gremlins. We have two sort of short movies for you. One is the flow of a new employee. So when HR create a new employee, through the new employee's manager, approving the new employee creation and access, through to the user logging in and requesting more access, and just a bit of a showcase of the UI. It's pre-recorded, but I'm going to do the narration because we haven't got as far as adding a voice to the video, I'm afraid. But at least it's not an AI video, so it's okay as well. I'm just going to continue the sharing. I hope you all see the video.
Yes, we see.
So as I said, this is the new employee video. Okay, so HR manager logs into our portal to create a new user. Of course, some of the time we have an HR feed and all the user management is automated via feeds, but sometimes, and for the demo purposes, we'll show how a manager logs in, and HR and manager log in and use the UI for managing employees. We all the attributes and all the fields that you see here, of course, they're customizable. Whichever data the specific customer has to have on the screen, it's there. What you don't see is the logic in the background. Okay, so this user is going to be created in a certain location. Okay, and also it's going to have specific managers. As we can see here, we search for manager. Depending on the start date, when is all the provisioning should start triggering. Again, which department and what title, all these attributes or all these definitions are going to trigger policies in the background that will give some sort of entitlement, again, based on title or location. As we can see, as soon as we submit, the manager gets an email saying there is a new user account. If we look at the email in a minute, we can see the manager has been notified about a new user with their credentials. Okay, John McClane, I'm just a diehard fan, so it's just a silly reference. So this user, John McClane, the manager is gonna say, okay, you need to log in. This is your temporary password, and to start using the system. So again, it's a temp password the first time you log in, just like with many other applications that you guys are familiar with. We need to change our password so nobody knows it. And here we have some options. As you see, we don't have as many options as the HR manager, for example, because obviously it's a different role and a different authority. The new user is going to request some access for themselves. Okay, so this is the famous risk meter I was showing. At the moment, it's 0. This is what I'm just going to pause here to explain. So because we created the user as an IT administrator, some access was given to them by default as part of their sort of birthright entitlement. Okay, so this is current. And then we have the rest of the catalog of optional things to request. Again, these are all display names that can be changed, modified, used by any site to reflect whatever. The first recommendation is Gmail, because really everybody can have it, should they choose to. So we just, okay, I might as well add it. I can have Gmail, why not? You have Gmail, so why don't you ask access for Google Drive, etc. Okay, so this is, again, a nice feature that sometimes simplify and make things a bit easier. The user go through the access catalog and see what did they need and what looks interesting for their role. As you can see, we just select this. It goes to we sort of add it to the shopping cart. Okay. It's noted that this access is based to workflow approval. Again, this is based on configuration. It's not just some random decision. When it comes to finance, again, we can add some entitlement. Just watch the risk meter. You see, it sort of changes as soon as we try to request any financial or sensitive access. It sort of adjusts our risk to be slightly higher. If we request for something which really should not be allowed, we cannot ask for it. Essentially, it will not let us submit, because it's just we do have a definition of policy saying we cannot have these two accesses. So this was just for demonstration purposes. We can request for few other things. Again, the risk meter slightly, we're still in the green, we're still good to go. But there is a comment about it. And we submit. I saw there was a question in the chat. As soon as this demo finishes, I'll get to the to answer the question. So we can add comments, whether it's per specific entitlement or overall for the request. We submit it. Again, the manager received an email saying your user asked for something. Some requests, some approvals will go to the manager. Some approvals will go to the endpoint admin, okay? Just because it's a different type of approval. So if we look at our own requests, we can see some are still pending. And we can see some are completed because they don't go through approval. Okay, they're just automated. Everybody can have Gmail. So if you request for Gmail, you can have that. Okay. As you can see, because some were auto-approved, in this launchpad, I have access to things that was already given to me. This is a demo environment, but obviously once you have access, you can configure the site, and the administrator configure all the SSO, the background, so you can just access straight into this application from your portal, because because of federation and SSO in place, they already know who you are, and it's just a seamless login. Okay. It's now going to log in as the manager for approval. So the manager logs in to approve the requests. So you can see we have sort of a red mark indicating we have some approvals. With each request, we can approve one at a time or bulk approval. This was submitted and approved. We are also showing, as we said, that was the user's manager. This is another endpoint manager. Okay, they're using a different language for their UI, just because it's still more comfortable in a different language. We have many languages built in and provided. We can add more languages dynamically. You can see all his UI is now Spanish. There was no manual task for that. They can approve, they can reject, much the same. And going back to our previous user, now that everybody approved, I've got some different access, and I can access different endpoint or features. Self-service wise, we can configure whichever tasks, for example, setting my security questions for passwords reset, modify my profile if I got married, change my name, or change my address, etc. The menus on the left are, again, depending on whoever is logged in and their role. Some will have additional options, some will have less. There is just a view of my profile, whether it's my recent access request, it's the current access I have, my current risk, etc. This was the first demo. Let me know if you have. Let me just look at the questions that was so. You can definitely have access to such a demo. We now use our lab. Okay, so VMware Lab, where we have different labs available. One of them is the IGA demo. It's based on the demo you mentioned, but it's a version 15. Okay, so we can definitely grant lab access for IGA as well as for other semantic products that you guys deal with, whether it's PAM or SiteMinder, etc. Absolutely, we can talk about this offline later, but absolutely. So this was the new sort of user onboarding experience. I'm going to show one more shorter demo about a certification. This one has a narration, but I'm probably just going to add some input as it goes on. Again, this is the governance audit side of.
We log in as a user manager and access the certification menu. Note the red exclamation mark on top of the certification shortcut, indicating pending certification tasks. There are a few active campaigns visible. The manager is selecting one of the campaigns where there are pending approval tasks. The portal shows a campaign grouped by users and the roles currently assigned to each user under the main Certify tab. The gear icon reveals several options available. Show previous decisions, and if shown, optionally apply previous decisions. Change the summary. Group the entitlements either by user/primary or by entitlement/secondary. Change tasks per page and take bulk actions. Bulk approve/reject/reassign/consult, or clear everything on the page or for the campaign. Export/import options. Change the number of items that appear on each page. Each of the pending tasks can be approved, rejected, reassigned, or sent for consultation. All the way on the right, clicking the V mark or the X will indicate the user should or should not have those permissions. The forward arrow will forward the request to another user, making them responsible for the attestation. The question mark will allow you to consult with another user while you still maintain responsibility for completing the certification. As an example, a mix of approvals and rejection is being submitted.
Right. As you see, I mean, it's just an overview of the options available in a certification. So a manager logs in, they have all these pending tasks based on their users or their responsibilities for an endpoint or access entitlement as such. Whether it's approving, rejecting, or reassigning altogether. They can see previous comments from other administrator that either reassigned to them or just want to consult with them. What do you think? Should they have this access? Are they still part of the project? Etc. This is just an example of some random rejection approval just for the sake of demo, of course. Rejection means the user should not and will not have the entitlement, okay?
In addition to active campaigns, managed campaigns are listed under a separate tab. This menu displays the list of campaigns that the manager owns. You can see the progress at a glance right here, as well as an overview of the campaign status. The manager can also select one or many users using the notified bell icon next to their name to send them an ad hoc notification, notify selected, using the provided template. This is over and above the automatic notifications sent out by the campaign workflow. If needed, the option to export the certification to Excel to work offline and upload later is also available.
Right. This is pretty much was the introduction of the certification flow in the portal. This is very much needed for any big organization because IGA is really aimed at larger organizations, right? With a large user base that handles lots of access requests, new access, old access, change access, etc. And certification is a big part of it because just all the regulations that all the industries are subject to these days. A note about governance in our next release, which is planned for sort of early to mid 2027. They're going to introduce and bring some AI capability to governance. So it's going to be focused on suggestions and previous sort of analysis of previous access was given, whether it was rejected, whether it was approved, and sort of recommendation on how to proceed. Because if you think about it, you're a manager and you log in and you see this endless amount of approvals to go through, and you have to do it every 3 months, every 6 months, I don't know, depending on your site. It can be rather exhausting. So they are bringing a new sort of AI capabilities to the governance side. So it's again, it's machine learning, just analyzing the existing access pattern and sort of suggest, okay, some sort of decision support for the manager approving this. I am
Right.
sorry. Go
Meanwhile,
ahead.
2 questions. Yes. Meanwhile, 2 questions came. If you can check the chat window.
Yes. When IGA detects a conflict post-provisioning. So about the first question, just for everybody to read it, when IGA engine detects a conflict post-provisioning during a batch run, is the conflict access automatically revoked or does it just generate a ticket? So it depends how it's configured. It can do either. We can say we do not allow this to happen and the user cannot have both and it's just not going to happen. But you can generate a workflow and assign someone to review it. So it's quite flexible and it depends how you want the system to behave. How IGA handles access certification for non-human identities, service account, API keys, and machine identities. This is a very good question. IGA has sort of IGA has a certain labeling. So we have sort of system accounts that fall under all these. Again, these have to be approved by whether it's the endpoint manager or a specific sort of team that manages these accesses. So there is no special handling as such. If it's registered as an account, it's being handled as just like any other account. But I agree that the focus today on non-human identities is growing. I'm not product management, so I cannot share sort of any plans for additional handling for this. But at the moment, we do have a category of system account, and this access is also being reviewed. This is the information I had to share with the team today. Carmen, I don't know if you want to add something or just
No, on my side, no additional remark and no question.
okay.
If the audience has any question, please type into the chat window. We will wait a few seconds.
In the meantime, can I just add? Sorry, can I just add?
Yes, please.
Our partner portal keeps growing. Okay, we add content, whether it's for enablement, whether it's product news, maybe whether it's material for promoting and for sales. Please use the partner portal for accessing not just IGA, any of our products that you guys are working with. We have office hours for many products, whether it's IGA or SiteMinder or IDSP. Product management comes and share the recent roadmap, any new interesting features. There was a session about AI with SiteMinder recently, etc. All these sessions are live. They might be a bit late for some regions, but they're all recorded and can be just viewed on demand. It's very useful information, and I do encourage you to view it when you can, even if just listening in the background while you do something else, because they do deliver important news there. Going back to the lab request, anybody who wants access to the labs, we'll coordinate via Carmen. Send me emails with the email addresses needing access, in which labs you are interested in, IGA, SiteMinder, PAM. It's all available just for that, for you to get used to, whether it's for learning, whether it's for presenting, using in a demo, etc. Absolutely, that's exactly what it's there for.
Yes, and on my side, I shared my contact information as a QR code you see on my webcam view. Because no additional question arrived, we close the session now, and in the next few days, we will release the recorded version of this session. Rinat, thank you very much for your presentation. Sorry, I am at home and my cat in the background continues to meow. Rina, thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks for the attention on the audience side. Thanks for a lot of useful questions. I hope the delivered content was useful. Have a nice day and see you on the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.